Good morning, everyone. I cannot tell if I am live or not. I am not sure what is going on here. I cannot see anything on my screen, so I am not sure if I am live or not. Could somebody maybe tell me, confirm that I'm live here? I'm looking at my phone now. I don't see anything going on. I think you can hear me, but you can't see me. And I'm not sure how to change that. Cannot see me. Well, I'm not sure how to change that. Let's see if I can make this work for me. I don't know how to do this. Let me turn that off. You can hear me, but you cannot see me. I understand. I'm not sure how to make that work. Let me check the settings here. See if I can get me onto a camera. Doesn't let me do that. Interesting. Well, maybe that's okay. Maybe it's okay that you don't see me. I will just talk today. And maybe it's good for us just to take a moment and go within. And you can go within to your own mind and envision what is true and what is good and what is right in this moment. Hold the vision. Invite us to hold a vision of a world living peace and love and harmony in this moment. And I recognize that you cannot see me, but I want you to, again, just imagine for yourself that world of peace and harmony. Today we're doing things a little bit differently, as you can tell. Obviously, you can hear me, but you can't see me. And I apologize for that. I'm not sure what's going on around that. But those of you who are in the Austin area, you know that the church is closed today, and because we had some ice yesterday and this morning, and it's accumulated on the ground. And, I'm taking that as a sign from Mother Nature, a gift really from Mother Nature, to give us the opportunity to stop and breathe and stop the busyness. Maybe take a little opportunity to go within and to heal our own nervous systems, because I know there's a lot going on in the world today that is impacting us. We are affected by this disturbance that's happening in the world. And so it's an opportunity maybe for us to stay within, to go within, and to heal that energy that's happening in the world. But so no, there's a lot of fear out there, concern, anxiety, anger, worry, some despair, hopelessness, helplessness, not knowing what to do, where to go, how to help, what's going on in the world. And I think some of that is showing up in our world in very destructive ways, as we can see, acknowledging that there was another shooting in Minneapolis just yesterday, and the energy and the fear and the anger and the sadness that is a part of that, and knowing that that is an effect, I think, of what's happening in the inner world, in our consciousness, individually and collectively. And so it's important for us to acknowledge that, be aware of that, and to take the opportunity to go within. Because I'm talking a little bit about, you heard me say, if you've been listening and watching the last couple of weeks, I've had titles for my talks, and I haven't been sticking to those titles. But today I will not completely do that either. But in talking about the divine mind, and sweetgrass. It's a good reminder for us that the Indigenous people believe that sweetgrass is a healing plant, and not healing on the outer, not necessarily releasing things, but sweetgrass is calling us in. It's calling us inner to that inner world to heal what is within us. So I think it's an opportunity to be reminded of that we can use sweetgrass, and I would invite you to use whatever element might be of value to you as a reminder this time to go within, to heal what's going on within us individually and collectively, because I believe we're all feeling it. So if you haven't already, get a cup of coffee, get a cup of tea, whatever is your beverage of choice, and settle in. Won't be a long service today. It's just going to be me sharing some thoughts and ideas, and having a meditation. But I do want to say welcome to everyone who is joining us. Again, I want to acknowledge that for some reason you're not able to see me, I think. For some reason my camera does not want to connect to YouTube, which is fine. But I want to say welcome to all of you. I want to remind you that please go to our website. I was going to say in the description of the service, which I'm not sure is even there right now, but please go to our website at unityhills.org to find out information about what's going on at Unity Church of the Hills. And there's also all sorts of links there where you can make a donation. You can fill out a connection card there online. If you're new to us, we'd love to know that as well. So please take advantage of that. Go to our website, unityhills.org. And just a reminder that every Sunday now from 9:30 to 10:30, I am hosting what I'm calling the Unity Experience. It's an opportunity for us to gather in a group to share ideas about what's going on and what's alive in us, and how we can support each other, and what we can learn from each other, and how we can grow with each other. Yeah, I see your comment. Unfortunately, the camera cover is not closed. I don't know what's going on with the camera. So, well, you know what? You might be absolutely right. Let me do that. You are right. Oh my gosh, I should have paid attention before. Sorry about that. So, hey, everybody. It's good to see you this morning after all of that. So thank you for that. Thank you for that note. I'm glad I looked over there at the comments. Thank you so much. So a reminder once again that the Unity Experience is from 9:30 to 10:30 every Sunday. And next week we'll have dialogue with David after service. That's an opportunity for you all to get together, talk with me, and maybe some board members might join us for that, to talk about some things that are going on at Unity Church of the Hills. Let's see if there's anything else I want to remind you of. Well, next week, we're going to try something different. We're noticing that the offering is taking a little bit longer, which is a great thing. We're enjoying that the offering might be taking a little bit longer these days. So we want to try something a little different. We're going to try not passing a plate next week, and ask you to give your donation as you come in or as you leave. And we'll see how it works. It's just an experiment. We want to try something different, see if that's going to work for us and work for all of us. So hopefully you will be aware of that. That's going to change next week. Again, welcome. I want to say we love you. We welcome you. We appreciate you. And we do behold the Christ that you are in the world. And so, as I said earlier, there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of, if you're a Trekkie fan, you're a Trekkie or Star Trek fan, there's a disturbance in the field, right? And we all feel it, I think, even though we may not be aware of everything that's going on in the world. I think because we are one, because we are connected, because of this unified field in which we live and move and have our being, what happens to one happens to all. What we do for one, we do for all. What we do for ourselves, we do for all. And what we do to someone else, we do to us and to everyone. And so it's important to be reminded of that and what's going on in the world. In some ways, this fear and anxiety and anger, sadness that so many of us are experiencing. And as I said earlier, And so many expressions of that, and some of those are very harmful expressions of that anger and the fear, and even deadly expressions of that, as we witnessed again this week in Minneapolis. And so I invite us to hold our consciousness, hold in our consciousness peace and love for everyone. And to that end, as I'm feeling that and experiencing that and hearing that from so many people, that people are feeling hopeless and helpless and sad and angry and despairing about some of the things that are going on in the world, I think, well, what does our teaching offer us? What does the unity philosophy and the unity way of life offer us in knowing how to meet this time, how to meet the world and ourselves at this time in our evolution and in our culture? And I shared some reading with the Unity Experience last week from a talk that our co-founder Charles Fillmore gave in 1926, and it's entitled "The Restoration of the Kingdom." And I kept going back to that. I was thinking about, well, what would I say today? How would I respond? What would I offer to us from our teaching that might in any way be helpful to us? And this talk kept coming back to my mind. And so I went back and I read it, and I want to share just some excerpts of this talk from Mr. Fillmore. It is from it's published in the book Talks on Truth. And what he says, and it's a little lengthy, but I think it's important for us to hear. It was important for me to hear and also take in and to try to understand what he's saying and what he's trying to convey to us, and us that believe and teach and practice the unity teachings and principles. And he says, the promise that the Garden of Eden will be restored on earth is older than the Bible. Other Bibles of other peoples, far antedating the Hebrews, prophesy a time when humankind shall possess the earth in peace and plenty. It should be observed that all prophecies to this end that come through mystical channels say that this is a state to be regained. They also agree that this condition of peace and happiness will be brought about through causes originating largely with people and their acts. In other words, its consummation will depend upon the wisdom and the energy with which people act at certain crises in history. But it does not require a prophet's perception to discern the signs of these times. The dissolution of the old and the birth of the new are manifest in every walk of life. This was written in 1926. In politics and in government, the same upheavals are at work. The rights of people are no longer theories. They are about to become real conditions in the world of affairs. So from any place of observance that may be chosen, we can assert with conviction that a crisis is here. Let me read that again. So from any plane of observance that may be chosen, we can assert with conviction that a crisis is here. Something is happening. A higher state of consciousness is bursting full-blown upon the whole race. It is everywhere, and it calls to all people and nations come up higher. All this presages a new state of consciousness for the whole race. The keys are presented to those who come into perception that all is mind, and that all things and conditions represent states of consciousness produced through the free action of the I am in everyone. This is the key that is being entrusted to many. But the possession of the key is not all. A key is for use. We may know all about the way in which mind formulates states of consciousness, but unless we have made the change in our consciousness and realize the presence of God in our mind, we are not using the key. Theory is one thing, practice is another. Our ideal world must be formed in mind on a very high plane. We may choose to build it from the standpoint of the most transcendent dreams of humanity's perfection. Nothing less will answer. And all attempts to bring forth a new civilization in conformity to any lower ideal will mean failure to the true metaphysician. So what I glean from that is a reminder that life is consciousness, that all is consciousness, that what we teach and what we believe is that life is consciousness. But what do we mean when we say that life is consciousness? Consciousness, from my understanding, is everything that we hold in our minds, in our subconscious mind and our conscious mind. And what Charles Fillmore would say, that our consciousness really is coming together of what's conscious, what's subconscious, and superconscious. So our consciousness truly is all of that. But what happens for us mostly is that our subconscious, he says, produces onto the consciousness, and the conscious mind is what we project out into the world. The conscious mind, taking its cue from the subconscious, is the lens through which we see the world, the lens through which we see ourselves, the lens through which we choose how we will interact with the world. And so what he says is that what really should happen is that the superconscious mind, the mind of God, the mind of the One, is what should be impressing upon the conscious mind, and the conscious mind then will act and create from an awareness of the superconscious. But as I said, what typically happens is that we hold all of these ideas about self and about the world and about our relationships with each other, and all of that in the subconscious mind. And so most of the time we are acting in ways that are subconscious. So what do we do about that? And what he says about that truly is that we must have a change in consciousness. We must change what is in our conscious mind, but we change what's in our conscious mind by really going into the subconscious mind. So what he's saying truly, I believe, is that yes, life is consciousness, and we must change our consciousness. Now, I know, and I know many of you know, that Unity New Thought has received criticism for thinking that in some way, when we change our consciousness, that somehow, miraculously, the world is going to change. That somehow, miraculously, if we change our consciousness, that injustice will be righted, that the world will be different, that somehow that people will all be treated equally, that people will all be valued in some way. That somehow, I hear people say, I've heard people say, well, unity is just a bunch of navel gazers. You just think if you meditate and you pray and you change your consciousness and you change the mind, that somehow, miraculously, things are going to change. Or that all you do is think about, you affirm what's good. You say everything is good. And just because you say everything is good, you've heard this. And honestly, I think I've had some of those thoughts myself from time to time. What are we really teaching? Is that really what we are teaching? And what I want to offer to us today is no. That is not what we teach. We teach that is the beginning. That is the foundation. Changing our consciousness is the beginning of changing our actions. Our consciousness determines how we interact with the world. Our consciousness determines how we vote. Our consciousness determines how we treat each other. Our consciousness determines how we treat the world in which we live, how we engage with the world. And so what I want to say to us today is that I was reminded again in our class yesterday, in the new member class, some of these ideas that we do somehow think, or people think, or sometimes even those of us who've been in unity for a long time think, okay, well, all I really need to do is change my consciousness. Well, yeah, that's the beginning. But changing consciousness is not about denying injustice. It's not about denying injustice. It's about identifying the root cause of injustice. And I think the root cause of injustice is that subconscious wounding that so many of us have experienced. I know that, I've experienced my own traumas, my own wounding. And I think because those subconscious woundings, those subconscious injuries, that we believe that we're not good enough, we believe that somehow we are unworthy of love and belonging, and we project that out into our conscious mind, and we look for proof of that, or we project that onto other people. And in some ways, if we believe that about ourselves, if we've taken that on and that lives within our subconscious and it's projected onto our conscious mind, then we will look for evidence of that, and then we'll project that onto other people, and we will begin to see them as unworthy of love and belonging and respect. Now, I know those of you who are listening to me today don't do that. I know we have arrived, we have awakened, we have transformed our consciousness. Hopefully, we have, in many ways, transformed our consciousness. But when we look at the world around us and we look at the things that are happening in the world, can we see that that is really the cause, the root cause of what is happening? And so our opportunity is to go within and heal that. As I said earlier, before you could actually see my face, when I'm talking about this idea of sweetgrass, and the Indigenous people believe that sweetgrass was this sacred herb for healing. But it's not about releasing, it's about going within. The sweetgrass is inviting us to go within and to heal what's going on within us. And so again, it is not about not identifying or saying that injustice does not exist. It's not saying, oh, well, everything is good, everything is right, and if I just change my consciousness, everything will be transformed. No, your transformation of consciousness is just the beginning. It doesn't mean that we don't engage in the world. It means that we participate in the world from the place where change really begins. That change truly begins in our consciousness. Your consciousness, my consciousness, because again, our consciousness informs how we interact with the world. What do we believe? What are we holding? What are we believing about ourselves and the world and other people? And so it's not about, separating ourselves. I used to think that when I first got into New Thought, I thought, oh my gosh, one of these days I am just going to ascend in consciousness and I won't have to even deal with all the stuff going on in the world. I had that idea. And what I recognize is that that's not what it's about. Although sometimes we think that, oh, well, if I just ascend, then the world will conform, But what I want to remind us of is that even though Charles Fillmore talked about consciousness and that life is consciousness, and he taught that life is consciousness, I believe what he was saying to us in here in this reading is that that's where it begins, but it will come about the world of peace and plenty and inclusivity and justice for all people will come about when we change our consciousness, but also when we take action. Because it's not magical. Sometimes I think we believe that if we change our consciousness, that somehow magically things are going to change. But it's not about magical thinking, although I think some people think that unity teaching is about somehow it's magic. It's just going to happen. As long as we think it into being, it will happen. But I believe what Mr. Fillmore was trying to remind us of is that, yes, it begins there, but it also requires our action. It requires us to take action that we are called to take. It calls us up. It calls us out to experience the world, to be in the world. As the scripture says, us to be in the world, but not of the world. We're not conformed to the world, as Paul said, but be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And so our opportunity is to do that. But not just that, right? It's to take the action that we need to take. And I was reminded yesterday in our class, and I think it was such a great opportunity for me to listen to a video by Reverend Ellen Davenport, who is the author of the Basic Five Principles, Unity's the book, The Five Principles. And she was this video is only like 6 minutes, and it's on the unity.org website. So if you have an opportunity, I would encourage you to go listen to that, because she very clearly expressed something in a way that I had not heard before, but was very impactful for me, about Unity's 5 basic principles that says God is, I am, I think, I pray, I act. But what she said that was so impactful to me is when we are thinking about what we are to do, and I think many of us think that. We think maybe, I don't know, I'm helpless, what can I do? I need to do something. And yes, I believe we do need to do something in the world. But what she said was, apply the 5 principles. Live the 5 principles. And what she said, or what I took away from what she said, is this. She said, think, first of all, God is. Can I possibly see and observe and connect with the activity of the divine in whatever situation I am faced with? Whether that's a personal situation or something going on in the country or in the world. Is it possible for me to change my perspective and perceive that God, love, the divine, is active in and through this situation? It may not be easy. It may not be easy for me to see that in the moment. But it begins with that. Can I possibly see that somehow the divine is expressing in this situation? Number 1. Number 2, I am an expression of that divine energy. Am I willing and able to see myself as that? And all others are also divine expressions of God, of source, of light, of love. So the second step, the second principle is, not only can I see myself as that, and if I can't yet see myself as that, am I willing to go into and do my own work so that I'm willing to see myself and able to see myself as that? But also, am I willing and able to see the other person or the other people as that? That each person is a divine expression. And I know sometimes that is challenging. It's challenging for me, especially when I see someone doing something that injures someone else. Whether that is shooting someone else, whether that is making laws that negatively impact someone's lives, whether that is taking away benefits from people, taking away food from people, whatever that is, when someone is doing something that I believe is injurious to other people, it may be difficult for me to see the divine in them. But can I look past? Again, I know it's not always easy, but can we look past the human expression, the ego expression, the fear and the anger and the whatever might be going on for them, and see the divine. That's number 2. Number 3 is, what am I thinking? What thoughts am I holding in my mind? What thoughts am I allowing to rise into my conscious mind that I'm projecting onto the situation? We experience life according to our consciousness, according to our thinking, according to our feeling. We co-create life experience according to our thinking and feeling and energy that we project out into the quantum field. What am I thinking? What thoughts am I holding? Am I willing to be aware of that, to be self-aware? I've heard it said, I've not ever found a citation for it, but someone told me that Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, once said, self-awareness is a prelude to Christ consciousness. That is a very powerful declaration. So our willingness to be self-aware. What am I thinking? What thoughts am I projecting out there? What thoughts do I have about myself? What beliefs am I holding about myself or the other person that might be informing my actions or my consciousness? And then the 4th principle is that I pray to connect with that divine energy. When I find that I am not seeing God in everything, when I find that I'm not seeing myself or everyone as a divine expression, when I see and I'm aware that my thoughts are producing things in my mind and my emotions that are not what I want to live, I can go into prayer. I can pray, I can connect, I can center myself in the awareness of that divine life that is living itself in and through and as me. And we can center ourselves with breath. Prayer can be whatever is powerful for us, meditation, going within, walking in nature, doing something that takes us away from our normal way of thinking and being and coming into a conscious connection with life in everything and everyone, that life that is breathing us, beating our hearts, the life energy that lives in and through in all things. And so the 5th principle says that it's great to know this, but are we living it? Am I living these principles? Am I doing all of these things in preparation for my actions in the world? Am I doing these things before I speak? Am I doing these things before I take action? Or am I doing these things while I'm taking action? Whatever that action might be, whether that is joining a demonstration, whether that is it's writing your Congress people, whether that's calling your Congress people, whether that is standing up and speaking out for what is your belief, what do you believe to be true and right and good and just in the world? Because I believe, as Mr. Fillmore said, it is calling us to something higher. That the world is calling us to something higher. But we must co-create this world of peace and plenty and justice and light and truth first in consciousness. We must go into this high place of awareness where that already is what we teach. Hold that vision. Use the power of our imagination to imagine a world that is peace and plenty and justice and equality for all people. Use the power of our imagination and allow that imagination to ignite within us the energy of our emotions so that we then can do what is ours to bring that about in the world with love and peace and joy. And so practicing knowing that consciousness is life is consciousness, can we look to, as I said earlier, I think I wanted to say this as I was talking about prayer, it's about allowing that super conscious, which Fillmore says lies back of the subconscious and the conscious to impress upon our conscious minds the truth of love and peace and joy, and allow that to be our focus, to be what we co-create with. So I'm reading your some of your comments right now, and I'm going to say, I think, we have been. I would agree with you. I've been fearful. I've had thoughts of fear. I've had thoughts of attack, even against people that I see are attacking. And what does that co-create? What does that continue to create? So I'm aware. I want to be self-aware for myself as well. And so that's the key. It's not about, and I want to invite us into recognizing that it's not about continuing to blame ourselves or shame ourselves or live in that place of regret. Let's start right where we are right now. Recognizing, yes, I have thoughts of fear. I have thoughts of helplessness and hopelessness. I have feelings about that. So what am I going to do with that? How am I going to respond to that? Again, am I willing to see God? Am I willing to know I am God and all is God? Am I willing to be aware of my own thinking and make some changes there, my own energy, my own vibration? And am I willing then to pray and to allow that superconscious awareness, that superconscious mind to be my mind? As Paul said again, allow the mind of Christ to be your mind. Invite the mind that was in Christ Jesus to be your mind now. I'm going to invite you to say that with me. The mind that was in Christ Jesus is my mind now. Or the mind that was in the Buddha is my mind now. The mind that was in whatever you associate with that divine mind is your mind now, is my mind, and it is your mind. And as we accept that, and as we allow that, and as we live from that, that's when we co-create the world that Mr. Fillmore was talking about, the world that has been prophesied for millennia. You and I, there's no accident. There's no accident that you and I are right here, right now, right where we are, in this time and in this place. You and I were made for this time. You and I are here to help bring about that world of peace and plenty and justice and equality, where all people are respected and valued. I want to remind us that Mr. Fillmore spoke these words in 1926, 100 years ago, which in the scheme of all creation is but a blip. We know that. We also can see some of the parallels there. The time, as he said, is now. It was now then, it is now, for all of us. And so that truly is how I believe we can heal, that we do heal. And we come from that place of helplessness and hopelessness. And we help others come into the place of hope and knowing that we are not powerless. The power begins in our consciousness, in our transformed consciousness. And we allow our transformed consciousness to inform and inspire our words, our thoughts, our actions. So I don't know that there's really anything more that I want to say about that, but to wrap it up with this idea of the indigenous people and how we can learn from nature, how we can learn from this indigenous wisdom of the sweetgrass. Again, I started with that, how the indigenous people believe it is a sacred plant, about that helps us in healing. And again, it may be sweetgrass for you. It may be, I don't know what. It doesn't have to be sweetgrass, but if you want to use sweetgrass, allow that to draw you into that place where you are self-aware, and bring healing and wholeness, and know that you matter, know that you are worthy, know that you are beloved. And as you know that, as we know that for ourselves, then we can begin to know it for each other, for all humanity, even those, and maybe even especially those that we see as not living that, because that is how they too will be brought into this divine unfolding. And maybe they are a part of the divine unfolding. That's an interesting thought. They are part of the divine unfolding because they are showing us, they're revealing to us ourselves. That's hard to hear. But the people that we perceive as doing harm are only revealing to ourselves, revealing us to ourselves. What is to be healed? We're one. We're one consciousness. We're one humanity. So what is to be healed? And so our opportunity is to remember that and to realize that and come from that place. And to respect, and going back to the sweetgrass idea, it's not just about how Indigenous people use sweetgrass in the healing and the bringing in to their own awareness, the love and the peace and the joy, but it is how they even harvest it, the respect they have for the earth, the respect they have for Mother Nature, the respect they have for the plants, the respect they have for each other and all of humanity. And so can we learn from that? Can we learn how to be in that consciousness of love and respect and value and belonging for everyone? So I just want to wrap it up by reminding us that yes, we teach that life is consciousness. Consciousness is how we observe, the lens through which we see the world, the lens through which we see each other, and that lens is very often clouded by our subconscious, the ideas of self, the ideas of others, the ideas of the world that we project onto everything that we perceive. So our opportunity is to go within, to delve into that subconscious, do whatever work we need to do to heal that and come into a conscious awareness of who we truly are. So it begins with consciousness, begins with a transformed consciousness, and then consciousness can inform how we act, how we vote, how we show up, how we treat each other, how we speak to each other, how we think about each other, and how we stand with each other and the world and all of the world. It begins with consciousness, but it's only a beginning. It's not about disengaging from the world. It's not about magical thinking. And it's not about denying injustice. It's about getting to the root of all of it. And that is our consciousness. So I invite you to take a moment with me and take a breath as you breathe into this moment. If you'd like to, close your eyes and just take a breath. And without any resistance, without any pushing away or pushing against, just invite awareness of right where you are right now. What is the energy that is in your own mind, in your own heart? What is alive and moving in and through and as that which you are right here, right now? Just allowing it to be. Going within your own subconscious and making it conscious. Are there any thoughts about unworthiness about yourself? Are there any thoughts about being unloved or unlovable? So bring in these awarenesses, this knowing that none of that is true. Those are myths. Those are lies, untruths that you have taken on. You are beautiful. You are worthy. You are loved. You are the beloved. And in this moment, as you receive that, as you accept that, allow that truth to be impressed upon your conscious mind, the truth that you are the light of God, the truth that you are love made manifest, the truth that you are beloved, the truth that you are worthy, the truth that you are beautiful, the truth that you are magnificent in your glory. And knowing that for yourself, claiming that for yourself, seeing that divine light in you. You know it and see it not only for yourself, but for everyone in your life experience. That is the image of God that you accept for you. That is the image of God that you project onto everyone, all of humanity. You are willing to see the divine in each one right here, right now. And you are aware of any thought that might be in opposition to that. And you allow this conscious awareness to dissipate any thought of judgment or blame or resentment or guilt. And in this moment, you invite that super conscious mind of God to be your only mind. The mind that was in Jesus is my mind. The mind of Christ is my mind. The mind of the Buddha is my mind. And right here, right now, I know this truth. And in this truth, I allow this truth to inform my words, my thoughts, my actions. For I am here in this time and in this space to bring forth upon this plane of manifested reality this Garden of Eden, this world of peace and plenty and justice and equality for all people. I accept that I am powerful. I am empowered through the power of the divine that lives itself in and through and as me, right here, right now. So take a breath, breathe into that awareness, know that truth for yourself. Let your light so shine before all that all will come into the awareness of their light as well. You're the light of the world. Claim it, allow it, accept it, receive it, and be it. And so it is. Amen. Yeah, so I think that's about it. Wow, we almost did an hour. Just me talking. Imagine that. So thank you again for joining this morning. I hope you are, wherever you are, staying warm and dry and safe. Love to all of you, and I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you next week in person. And please reach out if you have any questions, any needs, any desires to speak with me. I don't know if we will be open tomorrow. I guess it will depend on the roads, but we'll see what happens with that here in Austin. So stay safe and warm and dry. And until I see you again, blessings. And please remember to check the website, unityheals.org, for information about what's going on and to make donations. We do rely upon your donations. So thank you for that. So goodbye for now. Have a beautiful day. It's sunny out there right now, so enjoy. Blessings to you all. Take care.